He called himself the forgotten child, and when I first heard that, I felt a shiver down my spine. You won't believe, but a young man came out of nowhere and shook the gospel music world like never before. Let me tell you how it started. This boy named Jordan came online one day and said something that no one expected. He looked into the camera with a voice shaking and said, "Donnie McClurkin is my father." At first, many people ignored him. After all, the internet was full of lies and gossip every day. But here is the shocking part. This wasn't just another internet rumor. This was the voice of a boy who felt abandoned and silenced for years. Jordan said he grew up knowing deep down that the famous gospel singer he watched on television, the man whose songs he sang in church, was the man who gave him life. But no one was allowed to say it aloud. No one was allowed to ask questions. Let me tell you how this started. According to Jordan, his mother had once been with Donnie McClurkin long ago. They met when Donnie was rising to the top, gaining fame, and touring across the gospel scene. It was a quiet time in Donnie's life when he was gaining millions of followers, making songs that inspired countless hearts. But behind the songs and behind the glory, Jordan claimed there was a secret that would haunt both father and son for years. This is where it gets interesting. Jordan said that when he was a teenager, his mother finally told him the truth. He remembered how hard it felt when she said, "Your father is Donnie McClurkin." He watched Donnie on TV every Sunday, knowing deep down that this was the man responsible for his existence. But here's the shocking part. Every time he tried to reach out, every time he tried to make a connection, doors slammed shut, messages went unanswered. Calls were ignored. According to Jordan, this was not an accident. It was by design. What makes this story different? It's that it doesn't only involve Donnie and this boy. According to Jordan, it involves an entire church, an entire industry that worked hard to bury this secret. According to him, people came to him with a warning. They said that if he spoke out, he would ruin Donnie McClurkin's reputation. They said that the church would never accept him. They said that making this public would destroy the gospel star and cause a scandal. Jordan said that he felt like he was being punished for just being born. The craziest part came when Jordan claimed he had proof. Not just stories or memories, but a DNA test. According to him, a test was taken privately, and it came back with a result of 99.4%. He said it was enough for any court to accept. Yet, no one came forward to acknowledge it. No one spoke. No one acted. And when he tried to ask questions, when he tried to find belonging, he said that he was told to be quiet, to walk away, to forget. According to him, a voice came down the phone one day and said, "If you ruin this man's name, you will ruin yourself too." Destiny took an unexpected turn for Jordan that day. He felt alone, he felt silence, but he refused to give up. What started as a quiet plea became a storm online. Jordan began to tell his story openly, sharing pieces of evidence, snippets of conversations, and moments that shook the gospel world. Suddenly, people began to ask questions. Suddenly, the whispers became louder. Suddenly, the boy that no one wanted to acknowledge became a voice that could no longer be ignored. As the whispers grew louder, things started to change. What makes this story different? It was no longer just about a boy seeking a father. It became a much bigger story about the church, its leaders, and how far they were willing to go to protect a reputation. Let me tell you how this unfolded. According to Jordan, after he spoke out online, strange things began to happen. Messages came from people he had never met before. They warned him to be quiet. They said he was playing with fire. But here's the shocking part. Some of those calls came from people who claimed to be close to Donnie McClurkin. They weren't just friends, they were church leaders. They spoke as if they had been told to fix this problem before it grew too big. This is where it gets interesting. Jordan said he felt like he was being watched. He felt like every post he made, every word he spoke was being monitored. And when he tried to connect with Donnie privately to have a quiet conversation just between a father and a son, doors remained closed. The messages came back saying the same thing. The church won't accept this. The church won't stand for scandal. According to Jordan, that was the moment when he truly understood that this was about more than just him and Donnie. This was about an entire system that refused to acknowledge him because it feared the truth. But here is the twist that shook everyone. Jordan revealed that he had kept evidence beyond the DNA test. He said he had voice memos, messages, and screenshots, moments when church staff and Donnie's team allegedly tried to silence him. According to Jordan, one voice said, "We've covered this for years. Don't stir the pot." Another said, "If you ruin this man, you ruin yourself too." What makes us different is that it wasn't just one person trying to protect a secret. It was an entire group working together to bury a boy and his story. Then came the moment no one expected. Jordan claimed that a high-ranking gospel executive, someone very close to Donnie, called him and said, "Don't push this story. It will hurt him. You don't want that on your hands." Those words felt like a warning. Those words felt like a threat. According to Jordan, that was when he stopped seeing himself as just a son looking for belonging. He felt like a witness to a much darker truth, a truth about science, shame, and image that had gripped the gospel world for too long. And this is where the story took another shocking turn. Jordan refused to stay quiet. Against the wishes of those trying to cover it up, he spoke louder. He started sharing details online. People began to notice. Gospel fans, media pages, and longtime listeners started asking questions. Suddenly, it wasn't just about Donnie McClurkin anymore. It was about every boy or girl who felt abandoned because their parents' image came before their worth. According to Jordan, this was no longer just about a father and son. This was about a church and a culture that had promised grace but delivered silence. This was where the story became too big to hide. Let me tell you what happened next. As Jordan kept sharing pieces of evidence online, voice memos, screenshots, and old messages, more people started coming forward. They weren't strangers or outsiders. They were people who had worked closely with Donnie McClurkin, people from inside the church. According to Jordan, one of them was a woman called Sister L, a longtime choir coordinator at Donnie's church. You won't believe, but she came out openly and said, "We all knew about the boy. We were told to stay quiet. We were told it was better for the church that no one spoke." That's when the story stopped being a secret between a father and son and became a public scandal about the church itself. Sister L claimed that years ago, when Jordan was still a boy, he had been brought to the church quietly. According to her, she watched as Donnie and a small group of leaders met in a private room. According to her, Donnie was emotional. According to her, the leaders said, "This can't come out. The church can't survive another scandal." But here is the shocking part. Sister L said this wasn't just one meeting. It happened more than once. The boy was brought to the church quietly, hoping for belonging, and was sent away each time with a warning and a promise that one day God will handle it. According to Sister L, those words became a bandage for silence, not a path for truth. What makes this story different is that it didn't stop with one witness. After Sister L spoke out, other church staff came forward anonymously. According to Jordan, one person said, "We were told it wasn't our place to ask questions." Another person claimed, "Everyone knew, but no one spoke. We were afraid that saying anything would ruin Donnie's name in the church he built." The craziest part was when another witness claimed that Donnie himself wanted to acknowledge Jordan. According to them, Donnie said, "I want to do right, but the church ain't ready for this." That statement shook the internet and the gospel world. It made people ask a hard question. Was this about obedience to God or obedience to an image? Was this about ministry or reputation? By this point, Jordan's voice had stopped being a whisper and started sounding like a call for change. According to him, this was no longer about fighting for a father's love. This was about fighting for a world where silence no longer defeated truth. According to Jordan, every word he spoke was meant to make sure that no other boy or girl would have to grow up feeling forgotten, silenced, or thrown away for the sake of an image. Destiny had taken an unexpected turn for him. What started as a boy searching for a father had become a movement shaking the walls of the gospel music industry. By this point, Jordan's story had gone far beyond the internet. Let me tell you how it all came to a head. After months of silence, pain, and countless questions, Jordan decided to do something bold. According to him, he stopped hoping for a quiet phone call or a private meeting. He chose to write an open letter called "To the Church That Taught My Father to Hide Me." You won't believe, but that letter shook the gospel world like an earthquake. In it, Jordan said openly, "I don't want fame. I want a father. I want my story told because there are countless others like me. Children born in silence, hidden in shame, because the church taught silence more than grace." What makes this story different is that it came from the heart of a boy who refused to stay a secret any longer. According to Jordan, he felt like he was living proof of a deeper problem. According to him, this wasn't just about Donnie McClurkin anymore. It was about a system that placed image and reputation above people. It was about a world where songs could inspire millions, but silence could break a child's heart. The craziest part, the more he spoke, the more people came out with their own stories. Sons and daughters of church leaders, staffers, choir members, all telling a similar story about cover-ups, quiet meetings, and forgotten children. And then came the biggest twist. According to inside sources, Donnie was quietly offered a chance to speak. A major Christian TV network allegedly reached out and said, "Tell your story, speak your truth." But here is the shocking part. He refused. According to a family member, he chose silence over public words. They said, "Sometimes protecting peace means holding silence." But this silence didn't feel like peace anymore. It felt like a shield for an old way of doing things, a way that left too many people broken and too many truths buried. And this is where the story rests, at a crossroads between silence and truth. According to Jordan, this was no longer about revenge or shame. This was about belonging, accountability, and a plea for a better way. Destiny had taken an unexpected turn for him, one where a boy searching for a father became a voice for countless others. According to him, this was no longer just about one family, one church, or one singer. This was about every person who felt forgotten, every child left unseen, and every voice silenced in the name of an image. So what do you believe? Do you think Jordan spoke the truth about being Donnie McClurkin's hidden son? Should the church have acted differently? And can a legacy of music and ministry ever truly stand if it rests on silence? According to Jordan, the truth doesn't die in silence. It waits, it burns, and one day it speaks. Now the world must decide if this was just a scandal or a call for change. Let us know your thoughts in the comments, because this story doesn't end here. It lives on in every heart that has ever felt unseen.